It was the perfect day, sunny, calm, and it was calling for us to roam free, explore, take wild turns, and discover new creatures. You've probably seen deserts of some type and rocky mountain ranges before, but have you ever seen llamas on Mars and rabbits on the moon? We think we have. We decided to follow Ruta del Desierto in northern Chile, leaving Putre behind and heading toward Parque Nacional Lauca and Laguna Chungara. We had just left the small, quaint cobblestone village when, turning a corner, we spotted an almost ceremonial line of educated and orderly llamas and alpacas. They strolled down the hill, moving calmly, yet with purpose. Not long after that, as we reached Las Cuevas, a natural spring, we encountered vicuñas, their wild cousins, slimmer and lighter on their feet, with light brown coats. And unlike the domesticated llamas and alpacas, the wild vicuñas remain fiercely wild, always alert, always ready to disappear into the open land and hop around, but also always very curious. At Las Cuevas we were surrounded by the Mars-looking mountains, painted in deep reds and layered with subtle tones of yellows, streaks of brown, some greens, and every now and then spots of white. There, among the rocks, we met a new local resident, a vizcacha, not to be confused with bizcocho, which is cake in Spanish. A vizcacha is a high Indian creature that looks like a rabbit crossed with a chinchilla. It was challenging to get back on the road as we wanted to continue to take in with every breath this beautiful and surreal surrounding. But Taco Libre was eager to get back on the road, as we think he knew there was another world awaiting for our arrival. As we started driving towards Laguna Chungara, the landscape opened into the snow-capped and imposing Volcan Parinacota, followed by his younger twin brother Pomerape, rising just over the plateau. These volcanoes are described by Chileans as the iconic twin guardians of the northern Chilean altiplano, rising side by side near the border with Bolivia inside Parque Nacional Lauca. Parinacocha's near-perfect cone looks carefully sculptured like a volcano designed by an artist with a ruler and a wild imagination. Parinacota stands over 20,600 feet high above sea level. It really is considered one of the most beautiful volcanoes in northern Chile. Its slopes are layered with streaks of lava ash and mineral deposits, creating swirling bands of reds, browns, creams, and grays. From every angle, Parinacota seems to change its pattern, as if the mountain was constantly repainting itself. It reminded us of Huascarán, changing his look with the clouds. Pomerape is slightly lower and less symmetrical. It stands close by just over 20,300 feet high above sea level. While Parinacota draws the eye with elegance, Pomerape feels rougher and more rugged. Parinacota remains an active volcano, and his younger twin brother is considered potentially active. As we kept staring at these monumental works of art, we spotted something pink far in the distance over the salty plain. Sure enough, flamingos stood quietly on the salar. We had to see them up close, but we did not want to scare them, so we walked softly and climbed on a rocky slope covered in paja brava, or angry straw. And boy is the name appropriate. It is a tough golden Indian grass that pokes you. Our rock climbing days came in handy as every step required focus. We didn't want to step on a loose rock, get poked by a paja brava, which would have caused us to scream, and the flamingos fly away. Luckily, after a methodical climb, we got closer to the flock below, and we marveled the sophisticated pink birds that stood in the water elegantly against the high-altitude lake, approximately 15,000 feet, while simultaneously we were completely taken in by the surroundings. From the peak of the rocks, we could see once again Parinacota. We had a clear view of the salar, the flamingos, vicuñas, the rugged mountains, and all of a sudden one of us lost balance and hit a paja brava. which, as anticipated, led to a scream and the flamingos flying away. But seeing the choreography of them flying into the distance close to the mountains was an incredible show in itself. The pain of the poke only lasted 3 seconds. I guess the Paja Brava was not that angry after all. And down we went, walked on the salar, and continued onward. A short drive, we found the lagunas Andinas and Cotacotani, where dark volcanic rock created the scattered lava islands. The deep blue water of the lakes makes the scene extremely colorful. As we continued onward toward our final destination, Laguna Chungara, another movement caught our eye. Rheas, the South American ostrich. They moved across the open land with long, effortless strides next to more vicuñas. It was hard to imagine that we were yet to arrive at our final destination, and so much had already happened before our eyes. The old cliché is true. It is not about the final destination. It is all about the journey. And we finally arrived at Laguna Chungara. This lake rests at 14,800 feet above sea level. The lake was formed thousands of years ago, likely after volcanic activity. Over time, meltwater, springs, and rainfall filled the basin, creating the lake that we see today. And speaking of volcanic activity, we decided that since we were so close to Bolivia, we should get as close to the border as we could. Laguna Chungara is located 5 to 6 miles from the Bolivia border. Standing in Chile in the distance across the border, we observed Volcan Quisquicini, which is located in Bolivia, and obviously an active volcano as we watch faint steam rising from its peak. This volcano is another beautiful, colorful, rugged, and magic mountain. We then turned around back to Laguna Chungara to have some lunch. A simple, satisfying meal. Artisanal calentao fusion TL style. In Colombia, leftovers mixed with eggs become a calentao. This was a fusion with Chilean sopopilla bread. And because it was our creation from our own TL kitchen, it is artisanal, TL style. As we enjoyed our artisanal lunch, we reminded ourselves that this is exactly TL's purpose: to take us to remote, hard to find places with no hotels, no restaurants, no crowds, just us and nature, and of course, our spirit of adventure and exploration. We continued to absorb the view of the deep blue water with the painted mountains, the snow-covered volcanoes behind, some of the flamingos that were now on the lake, and we thought that the brilliant white snow colliding in the desert landscape does not feel like Earth. It truly feels like Mars and the moon, an out-of-this-world place shaped by fire, ice, and silence. We can truly say that TL took us to the terrestrial rim.